left, right.
Yo, you made it. You made it to the Valentine's Day episode. This is a exciting episode. We're talking about some do's, don'ts for the holiday, but most importantly, we are sharing with you the biggest scam of Valentine's Day. So listen on. I promise you, this is going to hit you hard. So sorry it had to happen before Valentine's Day, but let me know in the comments what you think, and if we hit the nail right on the head. See you guys on the other side. This is SipTalk. Grab a drink and enjoy.
Of course, it's good.
Cheers.
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 All right, that brings us live. Hello. My name is Justin DiGiulio. Welcome to Sip Talk, episode 166. I am in my basement in New Jersey, and I am joined from Charleston, South Carolina, by James, the Bosnator Boswell, man of many talents, philosopher, professional referee, bartender, most exciting of all, accountant. James, how are things holding up pre-Valentine's Day down there in sunny South Carolina?
It hasn't really been sunny or warm in South Carolina the last couple days.
Well, you know why? Because Valentine's Day, the icy holiday, is right around the corner. And with that, I need a drink. I got a big drink.
Yeah,
Here. What are you drinking down there?
I'm sticking with the Bush Ice again tonight.
Good one as always. So today we're talking about Valentine's Day. We're talking more specifically about whether or not Valentine's Day is a scam, where the holiday came from, what it means to people, what it means to your bank account this month, and what it means if you don't participate. Because I think that's another factor. So you're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't on this particular holiday. And it is not a religious holiday, despite it.
Well, it was a religious holiday at one
Well,
point.
we're going to get there, exactly. So it has some religious roots, has some Catholic roots, some roots in Rome. It's an interesting holiday, and the fact that it is so popular now, I think, is one of the things I couldn't quite figure out where it went from being this Catholic holiday that was kind of fading to now being this super blockbuster of a holiday. So let me ask you this: is it a holiday that you have participated in over the last couple of years?
Over the last couple years, define how many years.
You tell me. Maybe say 5 or 6.
Maybe.
Maybe participated. Let me ask you a
But
question.
will it, like, there's a modifier that we need to throw in there, which is willingly and no.
Yeah, so I think that's actually the question that I'm asking. If not, if willingly, why willingly, and what did you do? And if not willingly, I can't get my data here on the questions I asked before the podcast. But I asked some questions beforehand. Is what are some unrealistic expectations from Valentine's Day? What are some very realistic expectations from Valentine's Day? And then who should buy for whom? So you were saying whether you participated willingly or not.
Yeah.
You got to define that for me, because I
more
think
just
any
like-
man doesn't really want to participate.
Right,
Yeah,
and that's what
giving
I'm
gifts.
saying is, if we were to extend this to my entire dating history, every single time it's been the girl saying, "What do you want to do for Valentine's Day?" And I never have a good answer. In the relationship that I'm currently in, she asked if I want anything for Valentine's Day, and I said no. I said, I'll get something for you, but you don't need to get anything for me.
How did that conversation start? So this is really what I want to delve into, is like the intricacies of how it starts and how the expectations are established.
Let me dig through the text message history if you can
So
stretch time for a second.
did you prompt this? Did you say, "Hey, are we doing something for Valentine's Day?" Or
Did
did
I?
she
Of
say,
course not.
so she said to you effectively, "Hey, are we doing something for Valentine's Day?" And you said, "I will buy you something. Please don't buy me something."
I don't know. Let me see. Give me. I just got to pull up the history. Give me a second.
Okay, no, that's fine. Take your time. I'll expand. So, really, my question here is Valentine's Day a scam? Are we being scammed? Is it simply a greeting card holiday that has gone terribly wrong on the masses? The greeting card companies are winning big time, and all of us are just suffering because we're running around. We don't know what to do. The female doesn't know whether or not to ask the dude if he's going to do anything for Valentine's Day. The dude isn't really, excited about doing something because it's going to cost an arm and a leg to do so. I've got some stats on some average costs per person, per flowers, per gifts. So, and then, if it is such a bad thing, is it the worst holiday? And then if not the worst holiday, what is? So I'll let you lead with your text message history because I assume the woman you're dating must really love the fact that you're sharing your intimate Valentine's Day text messages.
Well, she's. It's not like anybody that's listening to this knows who she is. So, I can't find it actually.
Okay, fair enough.
But
I just realized I
is
may
it the
feel
worst
uncomfortable.
holiday? I think it
I,
might.
I just realized I may feel uncomfortable with you sharing this aspect of your relationship on air. Um, so Kjo asked, "Why is everyone so needy?" Tina said, "I think Valentine's gets less important as females get older." So my question to you and to those listening on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, etc., is it the worst holiday? What are your thoughts, James?
I, in some ways, I think it is because it takes something that, in my view, shouldn't be commoditized, which is like actual love and affection, and commoditizes it.
Well, how is it commoditizing it, and who's pushing for that? Hallmark,
Um,
Godiva,
maybe. But
because I feel like. Go
it's
ahead.
created this illusion that, and it's primarily on the man to provide to the woman some kind of an experience or gifts on Valentine's Day, and if he doesn't, then he doesn't love her.
So
And you can, and those experiences and things must cost money
yes and no. I mean, everything. If you want to do anything, it costs money. If I want to drive around
for
in the
the
city,
most
you got to
part.
pay
But
tolls and pay for gas. So have you heard of this book called The Five Languages of Love?
yes,
Are you familiar with the five languages of love?
I could probably name 3 or 4 of them off the top of
Okay.
my head.
Number one, words of affirmation. Number two, acts of service. Number three, physical touch. Number four, gifts. And number five, quality time. Now, do you have any questions on any of those?
No.
Do you know what the person that you're seeing? Do you know what her primary love language is?
Um, Probably physical touch, and she's told me this actually. Um, Physical touch, gifts, and words of affirmation. No, not
So
words. Physical touch, time, and gifts. Those are the 3 that are the most important to her.
oh, she only did. Why didn't she just do all five?
Well, you can have more
Yeah,
than
get
one.
3. So
Well, I think it's totally reasonable to pick 3.
it is. It's nice to have all of them actually. So if you had the opportunity to choose all of them, you might as well. That way you'd know somebody is really really into you. Um, so Kjo saying restaurants are too crowded and it's not romantic when other people can smell your food. Christina said it is the worst holiday. So the idea of the languages of love are understanding what makes the person you're with feel loved. And people express their love in different ways and often have a preference in the way that it is presented to them.
Oh, I found the conversation, by the way. It's short.
Okay. All right. Throw the.
She says, "What do you want for Valentine's Day?" I'm trying to live a little. I say, "The antidote."
Wait, so she said, "What do you want for Valentine's Day?" I'm trying to live a little. So that sounded like to me was, "Hey, I want to do something exciting this year."
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And my response was the antidote.
The antidote to the Valentine's Day venom. Okay, which maybe
Yeah.
hopefully didn't sail over her head, but it may have.
I sent her the clip to which I was referencing. It's from a Family Guy episode, and then I just said, seriously, I don't want anything for Valentine's Day. It's not a holiday I respect. I can get something for you though.
So you just shot her down and she said, "I'd like to do something exciting," and you said, "I don't want anything. It's a shitty day, but if you want, I guess I could do something for you."
Yeah, people wonder like why I spend years single.
God, dude. All right, we gotta teach you some social tact here, man.
You see, the thing is,
She
this
just
actually
said, "I'm
worked out for
excited.
me.
I'm excited to do something. I want to do something. I want to live a little this year." And you said, "Yeah, I'm not interested, but like, if you want to, I guess I could do something."
Yeah, believe it or not, this strategy worked for me.
Yeah, to your knowledge, thus far, it has worked.
Yeah,
All
a lot
right.
of times the long game doesn't work. Doesn't work
So
quite as well, but
okay, so and I think you and I are kind of on the same page on this. That I prefer to be the giver on Valentine's Day. It just simplifies it. Also, traditionally in a heterosexual traditional relationship, it's the male giving to the woman. Now,
yep,
and traditionally the male being the what's the word I'm looking for?
provider.
The provider. So I think if you simplify it to that, and obviously things are changing these days, none of my business. My relationship is different than anybody else's relationship. But, when you have one person giving and then another person giving, then you get into a situation where one person could give more than the other one. And then it's just a little bit weird. So if we've just predetermined that it's going to be one person giving, that simplifies it. And then when the other party doesn't give anything, you can really give the bare minimum.
Well,
So
I mean,
I'm
let's just think
I'm
about
joking
this.
on that. But
I said this before in our discussion before the episode, but I think it's a really important point. How many guys have you ever met that get excited for Valentine's Day?
well, I'm very none. And I would like to have a conversation with someone who's not in a heterosexual relationship. I think that could be an interesting perspective on this because two guys in a relationship, I'm sure they're probably as a whole more excited than one guy in a heterosexual relationship or two women in a relationship. Who know? I don't know. I imagine actually funny. Uh, this thought just went through my head. I imagine two men in a relationship might get more excited about Valentine's Day than two women in a relationship.
I would
But
make the same guess.
that's a guess, and that's just based on my bias, I guess. I don't know, my prejudice or something. But the way that I like to think of Valentine's Day is, look, there's a duty that needs to be done. Let's do the duty. You can enjoy it, and we'll live on, and we'll do our best to have a nice day. That being said, I can't keep up with these comments actually.
Let's
But
try and hit some of those real quick.
do you want to shout them out, because then I want to get into some of the traditional things that are done for Valentine's Day, what the costs look like for that.
All right. So yeah, Christina's saying it's the worst holiday. A Walker was saying that they were born on February 13th, so it wasn't like a big deal because they were getting gifts for their birthday like the day beforehand. So yeah, that kind of takes a lot of the sting out of Valentine's Day because you just had a day to celebrate. Or it makes it easier because like if you're dating them, then you can just be like, hey, it's a 2-for-1.
That's totally not fair, by the way.
Favorite day to go out to dinner is February 27th. I don't know why you would pick that day. I don't know that's Keijo says that. We got February 15th is V Day for side women, says A Walker. And then for those who celebrate Valentine's Day, how much is it about one another posting for social media for your friends and family to see? And I think that like For the people that are going to be posting to social media, they would have been doing that annoying behavior before and or after Valentine's Day anyways.
Well, so my experience with restaurants for Valentine's Day. So yeah, all very good points. Thank you guys. Um, and yeah, people like to share aspects of their life on social media, and typically they like to share the nicest looking aspects of their life. And if you're going to do something extra nice on Valentine's Day, why not post it if that's what you're into? But actually, let me back up. One of the pros, so we totally skipped over this. We got into the languages of love. One of the pros of Valentine's Day is that it forces you to speak in certain languages of love, right? You're compelled to do something, whereas it's probably not every day or every week or probably ever in your relationship that you give flowers or give chocolates or any gifts. And people 2 years or 6 years or 60 years into a relationship very likely may not go out and make reservations at nice restaurants. So you're compelled to do these things. You're compelled to spend the time together. That is a major benefit of Valentine's Day, is that whether you're doing it because everybody else is doing it, you still are doing it. You got these 5 different languages of love that are very real. And if you know what your partner's preferred language is, you can really hit a home run on Valentine's Day. And that's good for relationships. Now, there's a lot of potential bad shit that can happen on Valentine's Day. And now I'll lead into the restaurant recommendations because restaurants are a fucking disaster on Valentine's Day. Now it's February 8th that we're recording this. If you haven't made a reservation by today, there's a very high probability the restaurant you're interested in does not have any open tables. And
Oh, no way.
per open table data in 2017, an open table may be a bit more. There's like Resi, open table. There's maybe one other that are pretty popular to do online bookings, online
Open
reservations.
Table, I think, is the biggest.
It's the biggest one I know. But they say that 40% of restaurants are fully booked 1 week in advance. And I assume that there's a decent number of restaurants like Applebee's and Arby's that maybe factor into that. I don't know. That wouldn't be booked. But if it's a nice restaurant, it is probably booked 1 week at minimum. So if you haven't made your reservation by now,
Jess says the best day to buy edible arrangements is the day after Valentine's Day.
probably true.
Yeah,
but
you can get some deals on February 15th.
The best day to buy edibles might actually just be Valentine's Day, though, if you're looking to cruise through it. On TikTok, I have a comment from Lisa. Have either of you heard of Sweetest Day in October, where the women buys or plans something for the guy? No, I haven't heard that one. That one sounds interesting. So let's talk about restaurants. Not only is it almost impossible to get a table, almost everybody is showing up to the reservation on Valentine's Day.
Yeah, unless they had a solid fight beforehand.
Yeah, it would have to be pretty solid. So most people are showing up. Yeah, I imagine more people hold their reservations on Valentine's Day than any other day of the year.
Yeah, pull-through's got to be pretty good that day.
And it's it's a great day for restaurants. They are extremely packed. I imagine they try to turn over tables as quickly as possible, and they usually have like a price fixed menu, like a limited menu. My guess is in New York City, you could probably get a 3-course menu with maybe a glass of champagne for like $75.
Yeah, and also servers working on Valentine's Day are like that's a lot of people's least favorite day to work because you're not getting a pleasant crowd on Valentine's Day.
Well,
There's a lot of pressure.
that's the thing about restaurants on Valentine's Day is that there's high anxiety on both sides because especially if it's like a dude taking I can only speak from the perspective of a guy. Sorry audience, that's all I got. But as a guy that's taking a girl out, especially if it's somewhere that you struggle to get reservations for, or you just got by last minute with a reservation, or it's a nicer place than you would normally go to, which is probably what you should be springing for on a Valentine's Day, your anxieties are a little high. the place is already packed. You know they're busy. A lot of anxiety on the restaurant end. Your waiter's overwhelmed. The kitchen's overwhelmed. It's really a recipe for disaster. And for whatever reason, they must like slide some extra tables in there on the restaurant floor because restaurants always seem more packed to me on Valentine's Day. The comment about being able to smell the food of the people next to you—that's kind of gross, actually.
Yeah. It's been a while since I've gone out to a restaurant on Valentine's Day. If I ever have done it, I'm not really sure.
Well, the see, it's a nice thing that you have the price fix menu or the set menu or something like that. But I find even still, then the food is just kind of pumped out, and it's never as good as it is on a regular night at the restaurant. You have a limited selection, which fair enough, they're giving you a limited selection, so it's easier for them to pump out this food fast, so you're not waiting forever. But I never find it to be as good. If you want, a steak medium rare, or, whatever it might be, it's kind of luck of the draw. It's less likely to be exactly how you want things.
Yeah.
And on top of being packed, high anxiety for the customers and for the staff, it's on the restaurant's end a night for 1-star reviews.
Yep.
Like, nobody's going to have an anxious night where they go out to a super crowded restaurant, it's packed, and the waiters are super busy, kitchen super busy, and they're writing 5-star reviews. I could barely get a reservation. The place was packed, super busy. The waiters were overwhelmed. The kitchen was overwhelmed. I had a salad and
Yeah.
and an entree, 5 stars.
And then we got in a fight afterwards, and now we're no longer together, and I blame the restaurant.
Yeah, but that's the point. Is it's a recipe for 1-star reviews Valentine's Day at a restaurant. So it's really a shame.
Real quick, pop quiz here. So the most recent statistic I have is from 2017. What's the average amount that people spend on Valentine's Day per person?
Okay, so I have a number. Yours is from where?
2017.
Where did you get it though?
Not disclosing my sources.
Okay, so I don't know what year this was, but this is the National Retail Federation, which I don't even know if that accounts for food, but they said an average of 161.96.
Okay, that fits pretty closely. I'm guessing that's a more recent number than 2017.
Well, it probably wouldn't be 2020 or 2021, but maybe.
Yeah, good point.
So what's
the
your
number
number?
I got was 136, but
Okay. And again, it's also regional. I don't know exactly where my data was from. I heard National Retail Federation. I don't know what year.
I'll believe your data, but I'd say 136 and 161 are close enough. That's a lot of money to spend on one day. I don't know.
Yeah, it is. So I want to talk about costs for a second longer, but I also want to talk about what are some things that you should do on Valentine's Day, and then maybe what are some off Valentine's Day alternatives. So things that you can do, but not especially in honor of Valentine's, or maybe non-traditional Valentine's ideas. So look, I went online before the podcast and I priced out some flowers. Now, take a guess what having a bouquet of roses delivered on Valentine's Day costs.
$85.
You are pretty close. So, a 2 dozen roses, which I think the difference between 1 dozen roses and 2 dozen roses was like $10 difference. And 2 dozen roses so if you're sending flowers to somebody's office, and there's a good chance there's other people there getting flowers, spring the extra $10. Go with the 2 dozen. It's just going to look more full. It's going to be a nicer display.
What were the prices?
So this is with vase, but nothing more. And you can do all these add-ons, from a teddy bear to chocolate to, the sexy Valentine's Day staple chocolate-covered pretzel rods. But there's a lot of add-ons you could do. So this is just the basics. This is the 2 dozen roses in a vase, was $61.99. And then, of course, and this is 1-800-Flowers.
And that's delivered?
And
like
then
including shipping, handling, all that other stuff?
Well, there's a $14.99 holiday surcharge.
Okay.
And then after tax and whatever else they threw on there, I had 101 $22.
Wow.
Yeah. So when I saw that,
So my guess was smack in the middle
but I
of where
think,
you started and where you ended.
but I think that I was thinking the same way. I was like, oh, 75, $80. And then I see 61.99. I said, okay, that's better than I thought it would be.
You know what's better to do than ordering these flowers?
Oh,
I
I
did
think
this once and it actually worked.
I have the same recommendation, but shout it out. Go for it.
Go to a wholesale flower shop and get like 2 or 3 bunches of flowers, like roses, tulips, whatever you want. But get like 2 or 3 bunches of flowers that are, and each one will run you somewhere between 15 and $20. So you're looking at $40 to $50 worth of flowers. And then go to like your yard or somewhere and pick out just like some trees with like just they take off some I'm serious. Take off
So,
some trees and like get some leaves and like some other greenery to kind of stage and below and build your own flower bouquet for your significant other. It will look way better. Or it might not look better, but like you can say, I did this myself instead of somebody else did this. And like
well, yes, I think you're really onto something. I think very simply, if you just go to a flower shop and pick out some flowers, you are probably going to get a much better deal than if you order them online and
But I'm
have them.
saying build the bouquet yourself instead of having somebody else do it.
Well,
I
yeah,
was
but
able to do it, and I'm the least artistic person you'll ever meet. All you need is water, a pair of scissors, and that's it.
yeah, and you can make your own vase if you've ever had flowers before. Probably have some leftover vases.
Yeah, or
So
you can just buy a vase for like $6 or $7.
so I had the same idea in mind. So what I did was I searched online. There's also my notes here. I searched online for some local flower shops, and there's one literally downstairs from my office. It's called Scott's Flowers NYC, and they have that same bouquet of flowers. It's not all roses. It's just red flowers. And so I'm thinking, oh, maybe it's a little bit cheaper. And so now, bear in mind, this is Midtown Manhattan. Now, this didn't come with any chocolate covered pretzel rods. It didn't come with teddy bear or any type of chocolate. I don't even think it came with a vase. Probably though. I imagine they'd throw one in. So just this bouquet of red flowers, not all roses, just red flowers. Throw it in the shopping cart. Click on the cart icon. $500, and for $10 more, you can get a handwritten note rather than a printed note.
Well, if you're
After
spending the $500,
after tax, it was and there was another surcharge. It was $566. So
I'm guessing you passed.
yeah, well, I was doing some research, of course, just for the podcast. But I think you're right. The best way to do it would be to just go to a flower shop, pick some flowers. Usually, flower shop people are pretty friendly. Now, I imagine on not the 4th of July, what's it called, Valentine's, there might be a little higher stress in that shop, but
Yeah, but if you just go to a wholesale flower shop, they're just gonna have flowers laying around, and like they'll usually have them in bunches, and you can just be like, "Give me one of those, one of those, one of those," and then you go home and you put bouquet together yourself, and it's incredibly easy. You just cut the stems so that they're all kind of like different heights that look good, and then you get some like leaves and other stuff that you can just find in your yard and put those around to kind of like have a base to it, so it's not just flowers sticking out of the vase. It'll take you 20 or 30 minutes to do. It'll come out to be less than half the cost of
yeah,
delivery, and you did
we're
it
on the same
yourself.
we're on the same page about this. We're definitely on the same page about this. Now, I want to get into some what's traditionally done. So giving flowers, definitely one. We already talked about
Chocolates.
we already talked about the restaurant. So booking a restaurant, high stress, potentially terrible idea. A restaurant, you got to reserve in advance. Do not expect to turn up at any restaurant, even probably an Applebee's on Valentine's, and expect to have a seat. And then chocolates. You were spot on the money with chocolates. Now, I was never a fan of giving just that. What's the chocolate maker that starts with an R? I think they have the hearts with the chocolates inside. Somebody help me out on this one. Russell Stover's. Russell Stover. Um, you familiar with this at all, or it's been a while since you've given Valentine's Day chocolate?
Yeah, it's been a while.
So yeah, Russell Stover's makes the heart-shaped pack of chocolates. You can also get some other ones at the store. You can pick those up at a CVS, or a Walgreens or something. So for me, never been a big fan of that. Um, Unfortunately, I've spent hundreds of dollars on specialty chocolate shops, in Manhattan. I don't think that's any better. I still think there's some nicer things you can do than spending a ton of money on chocolates. But chocolate is another traditional one. What else?
Oh, this is a good one. Like an exercise bike or like a treadmill.
Okay.
Send the right message on Valentine's Day.
So that's maybe non-traditional.
Or maybe some weights or some weights, some running shoes.
Some Slim Fast.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
Give me another traditional Valentine's. Give me another. You guys should see
A
the chat
movie
that's going.
actually.
Going to a movie?
That's never. How is that not like an idea?
Is
In bonus, you don't have to talk for like 2 hours.
So I think if this was Family Feud, going to a movie might be last on the list. But I'll give you movies. Movies never a great date idea, but
No, but I mean, if you've been
traditional
dating
date.
somebody for a while, it's a fine idea. It's a terrible first date. It's a terrible second and third date. But if it's like the 23rd date or something,
Well, I
it's
would also
fine.
say it's a terrible special date. But yeah, I could see how couples go to the movies, and probably some movies come out on Valentine's Day. So there's
Oh, those are
definitely
not the movies you want to see, though.
that. Okay, how about so you mentioned exercise equipment, but um, but traditionally jewelry is given as a gift,
Yeah, I
and
really hope that people weren't taking me seriously on the exercise equipment.
I don't think anyone was. But no, jewelry traditionally given. There was actually, I was reading something that said like Oxfam was pushing back on giving jewelry because the gold trade is really bad and there's a lot of waste when mining gold
Yeah, it's the same. You can say the same thing about chocolate, actually.
and candy and
Well,
anything
can
that
sugar
shipped comes in
cane too,
plastic.
like, but no, like the chocolate's a pretty exploitative commodity.
If it's real chocolate,
Yeah.
yeah, which less and less chocolate that you can buy in the United States is real chocolate, actually. Interesting fact. Um, and the one that we missed, and I gave you some tips on this early on, is a Valentine's Day card. Remember, it's a hallmark. It's a holiday that's been invented by the greeting card company. So giving a greetings card, a Valentine's Day card. And what do you do when you're a kid in school?
That's where a lot of the money from Valentine's Day goes. Actually, is like kids buying Valentine's Day cards for everybody else in the class.
I have a very strong feeling that that's probably not allowed anymore, where parents buy these Valentine's Day things and then the kids give Valentines to the whole class. But that sucks because having to give a Valentine to the person you have a crush on, I think is something that you need to stress the fuck out about as a kid. I think
I don't know. It takes the pressure off if you're like, yeah, here's a Valentine for you, and oh, by the way, I'm giving them to everybody else. So like, it provides really good cover.
that's the thing is like why I mean I remember as a kid just being so immensely terrified to give a Valentine to whoever I had a crush on that particular year that month of that whatever particular year in elementary school. But you're just giving everybody the same bullshit like Looney Tunes
Yeah. I mean, I
Valentine.
think we need to take a step back and think about how big a racket greeting cards are. How much does a greeting card cost when you go to CVS and buy one? $6?
At least, yeah, at least some of them are
Think
considered
about what
good.
goes into that.
That's a whole job where you just write greeting card ideas.
Well, you know what? I want to get the job. Like, I want to meet the guy who came up with the idea of a greeting card that is blank inside.
Which is a very, very typical card.
Yeah,
Just
I
say-
want to like, and I really hope that guy got a massive raise because now we don't even have to pay the writers. Like the front says Happy Valentine's Day. Not really like we don't need to contact Mensa to come up with these ideas.
So
And then
greeting.
this thing cost me $25 to manufacture. I'm probably selling it wholesale for $2 or $3, and then CVS is selling it retail for $6 or $7. Like, it's just a gravy train, man.
Well, so yeah, greeting cards are a racket. However, back to the 5 languages of love, there are people who really like words of affirmation. So the greeting card is a great way to do that. Now, being forced to give a greeting card definitely sucks, but it's a very real aspect of sharing your feelings with someone.
Yeah, Lisa says, now that you break it down, Valentine's Day is quite the production. Yes, it is.
So I want to get into the actual true history of Valentine's Day, but first I want to talk about some non-traditional things you can do on Valentine's Day if you don't want to spend money on chocolates, greeting card, jewelry, a restaurant, flowers, which are all the traditional Valentine's Day things,
Stay home. Watch a
and that
Futurama marathon.
and that adds up pretty quick. So I think after this podcast, I'm going to have to give you some solid ideas of some things that you could do, kind of go big or go home, because that's what was requested of you. But now I think because you kind of shot it down and you gave some kind of backhanded, well, we can do it if you want. I think you really need to pay attention to this stuff. So inviting someone over to watch an adult cartoon, probably not top of their list. FYI, I
It's
know
on
you would,
brand.
I know you would like that, but you got to do something a bit unique in this night. It's got to be a bit special. So, inviting someone over and cooking for them, and cooking maybe something a bit more complicated than you're used to. I know we had this whole episode about hosting a date at home, which would be a great episode to see, the SipTalk episode, how to host a date at home. But cooking, and we talked about how you should practice the meal first, but cooking for someone at home on Valentine's Day, I think, is a really nice thing that you can do. It's probably going to be a hell of a lot cheaper than even giving a fixed menu at a restaurant at $75 a head. You can get in there to the grocery store for two and then some for probably less than $75, depending on what you're cooking. And you're getting some comments here about what you should be doing on Valentine's Day.
Yeah, I'm looking at Keijo's recommendation about Wild Common downtown.
Well, look, here's what happens is I'm talking to you, all right, and then I read the comments, continue talking to you, and I just watch you kind of fade out, go and Google something, look back at me with this kind of empty stare. You have no idea what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah, that'll
Which is
happen.
exactly what just happened right now. So here's what I think you should do. I think you should cook something on Valentine's Day. You have any ideas?
Yes.
Okay. What do you got in mind?
Do
No, this is for you. This is an idea for yourself.
oh
This is
no,
very personal.
no, cooking at home is not a good idea because that's something that I do with her all the time.
Well, you could still do it. You just have to up the ante a little bit. So, how about some cocktails? How about some nice? So you have roommates. So maybe you send your roommates out. Send them get your roommate something like a nice spa gift certificate.
Oh
Send
yeah,
your
because that's
brother
totally.
out. Send your brother out with a spa gift certificate. Get him out of the house. You got to make some nice food, something new, something you never made before, and maybe make some nice cocktails. You stop at a liquor store, get some ingredients that you're not familiar. You don't often have, or you've only had once or twice. Make some cool cocktails that way.
I will make drinks only with Amaros.
I think that's a great idea.
It fits for Valentine's Day.
Yeah, very much.
Let's be bitter.
Hi,
Marie.
Yeah, but I think Amaro's a nice liqueur to be using.
Not a fan of Amaro as a flavor.
Okay, so cocktails at home, very good one. You could also make some chocolate-covered strawberries. Now that would be, that could be in your style, right?
That's easy to do.
Yeah, it's easy to do.
Believe it or not, she does not like chocolate.
How about white chocolate?
She's more in
She likes
favor
you.
of more in favor of white chocolate, but only by a smidge.
All right. So then I got some other ideas. You could
Lisa says to buy my roommates a couples massage. That would be hilarious.
um,
I would spend the money to do that if I knew that they would actually go and take me up on the offer. I just know that it would be rejected.
you don't have to tell them it's a couples massage. You just tell them they're getting massages and uncomfortable.
They would
They
know
end up-
something's up. The simple fact that I would do something like this, they'd be like, "What are you planning here?"
All right. So
That's the problem with a lot of my pranks is that my reputation precedes me and I can't pull them off.
look, if you guys have Valentine's Day ideas for James or for anybody, you can click the link in my Instagram profile while we're live, and you can jump in and share your tips for Valentine's Day. So look, here's some other unconventional ideas for Valentine's Day. You could go temporarily single. You could cut things off right before Valentine's Day. My suggestion would be the week before, just so nobody gets suspicious, and then you get the night off. Is that an option for you?
This seems like I can see a lot of ways in which this would backfire.
Well, you're going to be single. If
I'm going to be single, we might as well just get started on it now.
Well,
That's where we're headed eventually, apparently.
So,
But by
But,
that
you know-
same logic, you're going to die eventually someday, so why not just end it now on your own terms? Not that I'm suggesting that.
he's not suggesting that. And if you feel that way, call the suicide hotline. We want you to live. But the thing about Valentine's Day is it can end really bad because a lot of people actually end up in breakups after Valentine's Day, and it's because there's high expectations.
That was me once, at least once.
Yeah. So tell me what happened with that, and then I'm going to give you a couple more to do with
Now,
you.
this was a long time ago. I was a freshman in college, and I asked her what she wanted for Valentine's Day, and she says, I don't want you to get me anything. I just want you to watch this movie with me, and I want you to just appreciate the movie. And my poor ass college student brain said, don't have to spend any money. All right. So she sits me down, and she puts the movie on. Any guess what the movie was?
What year was it?
2005.
Brokeback Mountain.
No, that would have been better.
What was it?
The Notebook.
Oh, The Notebook. That's a nice movie.
And she says, I just want you to watch this movie and appreciate it, and like just don't make any commentary. Take a guess how long I lasted.
Less than 6 minutes.
Like, I don't think I even made it a minute in.
It's a pretty sappy. And
after the movie ended, she's like, you can't take anything seriously, even for me, when I say it's the only thing I want for Valentine's Day. I was like, you made a really poor choice.
Well, sorry to hear that, man.
I don't regret it.
So
A man must stand on his principles.
I think your technique might need some tuning up.
Heard that.
What do you want for Valentine's Day? Maybe not the best angle to go in at. Maybe,
well, look, I was 18 at the time, so like let's cut me some slack here.
Yeah, but now that you've lived almost double the life, your approach hasn't changed too much either.
Hey, this time she asked me what I wanted, and I said, honestly, I don't want anything.
I don't want anything. I'll do something if whatever, just so you're satisfied. I think what you should do.
Hey, that's improvement, really.
Moving forward should be, hey, can you make sure you're free on this day? I'd like to do something. No details. Just make sure you're free. And that way you're not really setting high expectations. You're not setting low expectations. You're just setting some basic expectation, which I also think for you would be nice for your partner.
Look, at this point, we've been together for like 6 or 7 months. Her expectations are realistic with me.
For first Valentine's Day, though. Okay, so look. So if you do find yourself single on Valentine's Day, you could get together some single friends because they're probably also doing nothing on Valentine's, and you guys can go hang out at somebody's house.
Go to a bar.
And well, that's my next one.
Go to a bar and catch the post-dining Valentine's Day crowd. you're guaranteed to find at least one newly single person.
So hold up, here's two parts. If you can go get drunk with your friends, go to one of their houses. You can do it for much cheaper than you do if you go to a bar. If you go to a bar and you're single on Valentine's Day, go to the bar solo because you're bound to get laid. Because think about what the crowd looks like on Valentine's Day, and these are the people going. These are the people,
Rosh makes a good point. Hanging with a bunch of guys on the most romantic day of the year. Great idea.
well, I think the better idea is to go to the bar solo.
You could
But,
watch Brokeback Mountain with a bunch of guys.
that would be a little gayer. Uh, but yeah, I would suggest going to the bar, or just hanging out with your friends because they're bound. If they're single, they're bound to be free that night as well, or they're secretly seeing somebody and they haven't told you and they're not free because that would be the only reason they wouldn't want to hang out with you. And
There's
look,
other reasons why they wouldn't want to hang out with you.
and if you if you're trying to go after somebody and you find yourself broke, this is the best thing I could come up with, and it is probably the worst thing you could possibly do. But if you're broke and you're single, this is what you should do. You should write some poetry. You should write some nice poetry.
That might be worse than doing nothing.
That's no. I wanted to deliver that as more serious, as a more serious way. But there's no way
I stand by my
that could
comment.
that could be taken seriously. So look, we got a few minutes left, and I want to talk about the genesis of the day of Saint Valentine.
There's something really appropriate from the history that I found.
Well, so this is according to NPR that in mid-February, a Roman fertility festival was held called Lupercalia, and supposedly they were honoring the she-wolf Luper, and at the same time, Faunus, the god of fertility, which is looks like a deer, I guess.
Okay.
And then because it's Faunus, and then Luper is a she-wolf, which looks kind of like a wolf.
Well,
yeah,
but feminine somehow.
but weird looking wolf in my opinion. I saw there's a big statue of it, and it was a fertility festival. So men would sacrifice a goat and a dog, and then whip women with the bloody skins of the dead animal to increase their fertility. Because
I don't know
everyone
how.
knows-
I can't think of a better way to get in the mood.
Yeah, well, if you're not very fertile, it's always good to just have bloody animal skin whipped on you. So
So the history that I found, hold on, because this is where
Well,
this is the tie-in.
okay, well, it's probably I have some more history here, but I'm curious what you got.
That it originated as a Christian feast day honoring one or two early Christian martyrs named Saint Valentine, and I can't think of a better holiday to celebrate men being martyred.
Yeah, well put. Actually, well put. That's actually not the story that I got, and this one sounds a bit more fairy tale to me, but apparently there was several a Valentine in the Catholic history. So, all right, let me pick up where I left off here. So yeah, so there's several Saint Valentines who have been canonized by the Catholic Church, but apparently Emperor Claudius II, leader of Rome, had big armies, and these armies would go out for very long times. And what happened was the men in the army were had abandoned their families, and they were kind of half-hearted, super homesick, and just not doing great in the battlefield. They were away from their families for so long. So what he did was he banned marriages, which
That's an interesting solution.
yeah, I also agree. So it just means you continue to get more younger men. And,
The problem with our men being unhappy because they're being sent away on long missions is because they miss their families and they miss their wife. So the obvious solution here, the obvious problem is not that we're sending them away on long trips to some godforsaken country to fight and die. No, the problem is that they have families.
Yeah. So now, but I was actually thinking, like, wouldn't you want them to fight hard so they would want to come home to their families? That's kind of, so to me, it seemed a bit counterproductive. Um, but so Emperor Claudius II banned marriages, and there was a Catholic priest, Father Valentine, and he, despite what the emperor said, continued to wed young couples until the emperor found out and had Father Valentine sentenced to death, which is kind of a shitty sentence, especially if you're a priest. And what happened when he was in jail is young couples would visit him and pass him notes and gifts. And Father Valentine fell in love with the jailer's daughter. This is where it gets a bit fairy tale-y. Father Valentine fell in love with the jailer's daughter. And on the day of his execution, February 14th, he passed her a note that was signed from your Valentine. So very fairy tale-ish. But who knows? Maybe, maybe, maybe that's the true story.
If I knew that I was going to die tomorrow, maybe I would pass off of Valentine.
I think you should make a handmade Valentine. You go to the craft store, get some pink or red paper, cut out some hearts. I think that could be nice.
I might actually do my own idea of the whole flower shop thing.
I think that's a good idea too. I got one more thing, and then we can spitball about some good ideas this year and how to stay cheap. But I started reading. Actually, my thought isn't even finished in this, but I started reading about Cupid, who was the Roman god of love, and Cupid is depicted as a young, naked, chubby boy.
Yeah, like a toddler almost.
Yeah, but it just kind of fits in line with the Catholic's obsession with chubby, naked young men.
Yeah, it's weird.
Although,
I guess historically predicative.
Exactly my point. So it was a little weird, and it's just, I actually stopped reading the history of Cupid when I just made this connection. They're like, oh yeah, it's this young cherub, little chubby, infantile boy, and I was just like the priests like him. That's fucked up, and I don't know how else this symbolization of Cupid, the god of love, makes any sense as a baby boy. Maybe he was just happy for being alive, that he had been conceived, so he wanted to encourage more.
And somehow had wings.
Well, most gods have wings. Most angels. That's they're
and also I don't know, a bow and arrow.
Well, I hear archery's coming back. I told you I got a bow and arrow set for Christmas, so I'm excited to use that.
I'm gonna buy a slingshot.
I think a slingshot could be cool. Is there? Is that related to? I'm just thinking of who's the giant.
Is that related to
David and Goliath?
And the answer is no.
No, I was thinking David and Goliath, but
no, that's like a sling where like you like whip the thing around and then you let go one of the ends and it shoots out. I'm talking about a slingshot where you just kind of like pull back on like a rubber thing and release.
Oh, I suppose I never made that connection. I always thought it was a slingshot, but now that you mention it, I've always read sling. So, yeah, not my. It'd be one thing if the violence in New York City was coming from like crossbows and slingshots and things like that,
and like swords and armor, dude. That would be awesome.
Oh man, don't get me started with the freaking. I called into to NPR this morning to talk to the Manhattan Borough President or somebody at Manhattan Council or something like that. They're talking about homelessness, and then they went on to talk about old people in Manhattan and how we needed to make the city more friendly for old people and put in benches and things like that. But then I was thinking, but you just took all the benches out because the homeless people make them their home. And so, I don't know. It's a different subject. Anything else I should know about Valentine's Day? About your Valentine's Day? So you're going to do some arts and crafts. The make your own bouquet of flowers, I think, is brilliant. Now, given it's February in all places, cold and warm. Most of the places that are nearby me are cold. You're probably not finding any flowering plants outside, so you may have to go to a florist to pick up.
You have to. Like all the flowers that you're gonna get are gonna be from like Chile and Ecuador.
Yeah. But then you're saying you get some flowers, and then you can get some extra things that you get outside, like some ferns or something like that. Yeah.
No, ferns you're gonna have trouble with in February too.
It's probably well.
But
Yeah.
yeah, that's the idea. Is get some like green roughage or whatever to fill out the bottom part of it, and
Are you tying it up with string, or are you putting it in a vase? What's your?
I don't know. This plant has barely reached the stages of infancy.
Okay. Well, I'm hoping you can pull this off and put something nice together and send a photo my way, because I think that would be nice. I also think you ought to cook something nice, maybe make some unique cocktails that you haven't made before. Try to make it a little special. I think what's expected is a little bit of showmanship. I think that's really the take home here, is that you need to do something that you wouldn't do every other day, and you don't necessarily need to break the bank, but you need to show that you care, and you want it to be interpreted under the right language of that person's preferred love language.
Yeah, I still think it's funny though. Like men are content with nothing, and women are the ones who need all this panache.
Well, we haven't spoken to any homosexual people or sexually non-binary people, so I'm curious how that plays out. I have no perspective on it, but except for curiosity.
But seriously, like I can think if I were to ask every male friend that I have and say, in all the Valentine's days that you've been in relationships, have you ever been upset that like she didn't really do anything for you? Were you really expecting her to do something great for you? And I can guarantee you to a T they'd be like, "No, and I don't really care."
I'm oftentimes surprised when the gift is reciprocated, and and that happens. But I think it's okay if it's not reciprocated from the lady. One more comment from Let Love Rain on TikTok. Spa or give each other a massage. Oh, giving somebody a massage, always a good one. Or you can like make that book of things that you'll do for people. Like you can make a book of.
Oh no, that's a terrible idea.
Have you done it? Why is somebody still
No. But it's
collecting
one of my
it?
favorite stories. Is
You-
people? This came from a
you got
Reddit
3
thread where
minutes.
like, yeah, I can do it in two.
No, take your time.
The story is, what was the worst Valentine's Day gift you ever got? And one of them was like a book of like coupons or whatever. And for example, it would be like one free argument win. And he's like, trust me, the time that you try and cash in on the one free argument win is the worst time possible, because that just makes things worse. And the other one that I thought was even better was like the one free BJ coupon. Because again, you're in the middle of a fight and you break out the one free beach coupon. You're not getting a beach. She's just going to be a lot angrier.
So the idea of the coupon book, for those who aren't familiar with, is it's favors, whether it's sexual or not, that can be cashed in at any point moving forward in that relationship. And generally, it sounds from James.
I'm just imagining this. I can't believe that you would cheat on me with Susan. Honey, I know this is not exactly when you were expecting this to be cashed in, but what do you say?
What card are you holding up?
Probably the free beach.
Well, if the relationship is over, that one doesn't work. That would be the time to deploy the one free argument win.
Yeah, either one's good, but I
So-
can promise you that you're not going to get the results that you want.
All right. On that note, we're going to wrap up. I want to thank everybody for joining. Encourage you to subscribe, whether you want to or not. If you're listening to us, just go do it. It makes us feel good. And what do you care? It just means you'll run into us again. But I think the take home is that you ought to do something a little above and beyond on this particular day, and just show a little effort. That's all. And you can get away. We gave some good examples, things you don't have to spend too much money on. The chocolate-covered strawberries one, do it yourself. That's an easy one. The cocktails, making somebody dinner, that's easy. The poetry, that is probably the winner. Write some poetry this year. That's the biggest take home. But on that note, we will wrap. I want to thank you, James, and thank Rosh Galeb in the background for feeding us your comments while we're live, and we will see you next time. Adios. All right, this is The Other Side. Thank you for making it so far into this podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and help us promote and build this podcast. We really enjoy doing it. We like having you here, so thank you for that. And let me know, is Valentine's Day a good holiday? Is it the worst holiday? If not, are there worse holidays? Either way, again, thank you for joining. See you guys next time.
I like PBR. I just got priced out of it.